Some holiday destinations we think are amazing are secretly the worst, and some we avoid, actually incredible. Think about it. When was the last time that beach resort actually lived up to the Instagram photos? And have you ever considered that the holidays everyone complains about might be hiding some serious magic? Today, we're flipping the script on vacation destinations and holiday activities. By the end of this video, you'll never book a trip the same way again. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because we're about to get real about something we've all experienced. Disappointing holidays? Here's the thing. The travel industry has convinced us that certain destinations are dream vacations and others are boring or not worth the money. But what if we've been doing this all wrong? What if the places we spend thousands of dollars to visit are actually kind of overrated? And what if the destinations we dismiss or never consider have experiences that blow the popular spots out of the water? That's exactly what we're exploring today. We're going to break this down into two parts. First, the so-called dream holidays that might actually be bad for your wallet, your sanity, or your vacation vibes. Then, we'll flip it and look at the supposedly boring or uncool holiday spots that are actually incredible when you give them a chance. Fair warning, some of these takes might be controversial. But that's what the comment section is for. Let's get into it. Good holidays that are actually bad. Let's start with the obvious one. Those iconic tourist destinations everyone says you have to visit. Times Square in New York, Piccadilly Circus in London, Hollywood Boulevard in LA. These places are supposed to be unmissable, the heart of the city, the place where all the action happens. Except here's what actually happens. You show up and you're immediately surrounded by thousands of other tourists, all trying to take the same photo. Everything costs twice as much as it should. Someone in a knockoff superhero costume tries to charge you $20 for a picture you didn't ask for. Times Square is literally just a bunch of billboards and chain restaurants. You're not experiencing authentic New York. You're experiencing a corporate theme park version of New York designed to extract money from tourists and Hollywood Boulevard. It's dirty, crowded, and disappointing. The Walk of Fame is just stars on a sidewalk, surrounded by souvenir shops selling the same cheap t-shirts. You could see the same thing in a photo and save yourself the trip. These places exist purely for tourists. Locals avoid them like the plague. If you want to actually experience a city, you need to get away from these overcrowded, overpriced traps. Smash that like button if you've ever been disappointed by a famous landmark. Next up, all-inclusive beach resorts in the Caribbean or Mexico. These are marketed as paradise. Unlimited food and drinks, beautiful beaches, total relaxation. But in reality, you're paying premium prices to be trapped in a tourist bubble. Think about it. You fly to an amazing country with incredible culture, authentic food, and real experiences. But instead of exploring any of that, you stay inside a walled resort eating buffet food that tastes the same as every other resort buffet. You drink watered-down cocktails by a pool that could be anywhere in the world. The beach is usually crowded with other resort guests. Someone's constantly trying to sell you an excursion or a timeshare. The entertainment is cheesy shows that make you cringe. And because everything's included, you never leave the resort. You could be in Mexico or the Dominican Republic, but you'd never know it because every resort looks identical. Plus, all-inclusive resorts are designed to keep you spending. Sure, the food and basic drinks are included, but the good alcohol costs extra. The premium restaurants cost extra. The activities cost extra. By the end of the week, you've spent way more than you planned. And here's the kicker. You didn't actually experience the place you traveled to. You experienced a generic resort that could be anywhere. All-inclusive resorts are expensive boredom disguised as luxury. Okay, controversial take, incoming. Those famous European summer destinations, Santorini, Barcelona, Venice, the Amalfi Coast. Yes, they're stunning. Yes, the photos look incredible. But visiting them in peak summer is actually a nightmare. Santorini is so overcrowded that you literally can't walk down the narrow streets without getting stuck in tourist traffic. That famous sunset everyone goes there for. You're watching it with 5,000 other people all holding up their phones. The entire island has become an Instagram backdrop, and the prices reflect that. A basic hotel room costs hundreds of euros. A simple meal costs what you'd pay at a nice restaurant back home. Venice is sinking under the weight of cruise ship tourists. Barcelona is so overwhelmed with visitors that locals are actively protesting tourism. The Amalfi Coast is beautiful, but the roads are terrifying, parking is impossible, and everything is ridiculously expensive. These places have been loved to death. They're victims of their own popularity. You end up spending most of your vacation stressed, hot, and surrounded by crowds, trying to recreate photos you saw online. Summer and popular European destinations is peak overhyped. Do you agree with this take? Drop it in the comments. Last one in this category, luxury safari holidays in Africa. Now don't get me wrong, wildlife is incredible. Conservation is important. But the luxury safari experience that gets marketed to tourists is often problematic and overpriced. You're paying thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, for what's essentially a fancy camping trip where you wake up at dawn to drive around looking for animals. The accommodations are expensive because they're labeled as luxury, but you're still in the middle of nowhere with limited amenities. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Many safari operations are more about wealthy tourists having an experience than actual conservation. The money often doesn't go where you think it does. Local communities frequently don't benefit as much as they should. Plus, there's something weird about treating wildlife viewing as a luxury commodity. You're essentially paying premium prices to look at animals while staying in accommodations that feel disconnected from the actual place you're visiting. There are better, more ethical, and more affordable ways to experience wildlife and support conservation. The luxury safari industrial complex, isn't it? Now let's flip this. Let's talk about holidays people think are boring or low budget that are actually incredible. First up, camping and road trips. A lot of people think camping is what you do when you can't afford a real holiday. It's uncomfortable, it's basic. Why would you choose to sleep in a tent when hotels exist? But here's the thing, camping and road trips are actually some of the best holidays you can take. You have complete freedom. Want to stay somewhere an extra day? Do it. Found a beautiful spot off the beaten path? Stop there. You're not locked into hotel reservations or rigid itineraries. You're exploring at your own pace. The experiences you have are real and memorable. Cooking over a campfire, watching stars without light pollution, waking up in nature, having actual conversations with your travel companions instead of just taking photos for social media. Plus, road trips let you see places that aren't on tourist maps, small towns, local diners, weird roadside attractions. The stuff that makes a place actually interesting, and camping is ridiculously affordable. You're spending money on experiences and exploration, not on overpriced hotel rooms and resort fees. Camping and road trips are pure freedom and adventure. They're underrated because they're not glamorous, but they're often more satisfying than expensive resort vacations. Next, Eastern Europe. Everyone flocks to Paris, Rome, and London. But Eastern Europe, people write it off as less developed, less exciting, or not worth visiting. That's completely wrong. Cities like Krakow, Prague, Budapest, and Tallinn are absolutely stunning. The architecture is incredible. The history is fascinating. The food is amazing. And because they're not overrun with tourists like Western Europe, you actually get to experience the culture. Plus, it's affordable. You can stay in beautiful hotels, eat at great restaurants, and explore museums without spending a fortune. The value for money is unbeatable. Eastern Europe has castles, medieval towns, thermal baths, incredible nightlife, and some of the friendliest people you'll meet. It's everything people love about Western Europe without the crowds and inflated prices. If you've been sleeping on Eastern Europe, you're missing out on some of the best travel experiences in the world. Okay, hear me out on this one. Staycations. Most people think staying home for a holiday is admitting defeat. It's what you do when you can't afford a real vacation. But staycations are actually genius. You save thousands on flights and accommodation. No jet lag, no packing stress, no airport security lines. You sleep in your own bed and use your own bathroom. But here's the key. You have to actually do things. Treat your own city like a tourist destination. Visit museums you've never been to. Try restaurants in neighborhoods you never go to. Take day trips to places within driving distance. Stay in a nice hotel downtown for a night just for fun. Most of us don't actually explore where we live. We get stuck in routines and forget that there's usually cool stuff right in our own backyard. Staycations are low stress, affordable, and often more relaxing than traveling. Plus, you're supporting local businesses instead of giving your money to international hotel chains. Don't knock the staycation until you've actually tried it properly. Last one, traveling in the off-season. Everyone wants to visit places during peak season when the weather's perfect, but off-season travel is where the magic actually happens. Fewer tourists means you actually get to experience places. You can walk through museums without crowds. Restaurants aren't packed. You can take photos without waiting for other people to move. Everything's cheaper. Flights, hotels, tours, all discounted because it's not peak season. And sure, the weather might not be perfect, but honestly, visiting Venice in January when it's quiet and moody is way better than visiting in August when it's 90 degrees and packed with tourists. Seeing Iceland in winter with the northern lights beats summer crowds any day. Off-season travel is for people who actually want to experience places, not just check them off a list. Which holiday do you secretly love or hate? Let me know in the comments. So here's the bottom line. Holidays are all about perspective. The ones we've been told are dream destinations, the ones that dominate Instagram and travel blogs. Those often come with way more stress crowds and disappointment than we admit. Tourist traps are overpriced. All-inclusive resorts are boring. Popular summer destinations are overwhelmed. But the holidays we ignore or dismiss. Those are where the real experiences happen. Camping gives you freedom. Eastern Europe gives you culture without crowds. Staycations are underrated genius. Off-season travel is for people who get it. Maybe the problem isn't the destinations themselves. Maybe it's the expectations we attach to them. We've been conditioned to believe certain places are must-see, and when they don't live up to the hype, we feel cheated. But here's a wild idea. What if we just traveled for ourselves instead of for the photos? What if we chose destinations based on what we actually want to experience, not what everyone else is doing? Or, we could just skip the tourist traps entirely. Explore places that aren't on every top 10 list. Travel when everyone else isn't. Actually experience the world instead of just collecting passport stamps. At the end of the day, every holiday is what you make of it. Unless it's Times Square, then good luck. All right, now it's your turn. What's the most overrated holiday destination in your opinion? And what's a place you think deserves way more love? Drop your answers in the comments. I want to see if we agree, or if you think I'm completely wrong about everything. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more content, where we question everything the travel industry tells us is normal. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.